Hey everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of this night. Where you last saw us, we left off with this beautiful glowing bark scorpion that we found right at the end of the little hike up in the mountains near Phoenix. After this, we split off from the friend that we were walking with, and my mom and I headed down kind of southeast, road cruising looking for stuff, and that's where this video will pick up. So what we saw before now was a lot of different kinds of animals: the scorpions, the banded gecko, the jackrabbits, a few snakes earlier in the day. But after we left here and started road cruising, it was snakes left and right. Something here. I hope not. He's not. It's another diamondback. Look at that. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's not a diamondback. Did it again. This is a Mojave rattlesnake. Crotalus scutulatus. Very similar looking to the diamondbacks, but they've got the white stripe on their face actually runs out to the very back end of their jaw, and they have a much darker pattern down their back than the diamondbacks usually do. And if we look down at the end of his tail, they have thinner black bands that are a lot more uneven oftentimes. There's a few other differences as well if you were to look close at the head. But this is the species that a lot of people will claim will chase you. And they're really aggressive, but as you can see, if we don't bother him, he's not interested in bothering us either. So it looks like he's wanting to go off that direction, so as soon as we can tell there's a clear spot for the cars, then we will get him across. Frequently called the Mojave green rattlesnake as well, because many individuals often have this greenish tint, kind of like prairie rattlesnakes. The Mojave rattlesnake is widely regarded as one of the most venomous rattlesnakes in North America. Often called the most venomous, but unfortunately it's not quite true. The toxicity of what is often referred to as the Mojave toxin, a neurotoxic component of their venom, is actually beat out by the venom of the tiger rattlesnake, which is also an Arizona species found in some of the same areas, although it likes higher, more mountainous regions. Its venom is actually more potent. However, due to the relatively small yield that it gives, and also the fact that it's a fairly quiet, docile species, the tiger rattlesnake is not considered quite as dangerous as the Mojave. Mojaves are somewhat smaller than diamondbacks on average, in addition to some of the other differences you might see between them. And as I said earlier, they do have a reputation that is somewhat earned of being a bit more of a defensive animal. So when you mess with them, they are a lot more likely to put on a show, rattle and hiss and strike, as opposed to the somewhat less cantankerous western diamondback. However, like all rattlesnakes, if you give them just even 3 feet of space, there will be no issues, because they don't want to waste the venom on you. It's meant to be used to capture food. A note on that venom as well: the populations that are found here in kind of the central Arizona region actually don't tend to have the Mojave toxin, so different populations within the species vary in the composition of their venom, and some of them have that famed neurotoxin, others don't. There he is. Another young Mojave in the process of shedding his skin. Look at that. Alright, we've got a second young, looks like Mojave rattlesnake out here. And he's actually in the process, he's got a little bit of his skin still stuck right there, not quite off the button. So once it actually peels off, that'll add another button to the rattle. And he's looking a little flat back here. I'm hoping that's just happenstance and that he wasn't like clipped by a car somewhere, but he's scooting along pretty well, so I think he's doing okay. So we'll get a couple of photos and then encourage him to keep going in the direction he was going. Got a little flick of the tongue. So in this area and in most of the areas where they're found, western diamondbacks are usually considered one of the most common species to be encountered. But for some reason tonight it wasn't the diamondbacks, it was the Mojaves that kept on popping up all over the place. Not on the road. Not on the road. Oh, he's acting like Mojaves are often claimed to. You go that way. No. You really are pissy. Come on. Off the road. Come on. You go this... No. Off the road. There. Yeah, you go that way. Go on. There he goes. I'm gonna hide under the bush there. Oh, no. Got him. Holy. This is the western longnose snake, Rhinochilus lecontii. An absolutely beautiful animal. Just a little bit of red in his pattern. Red eyes. And completely harmless. Now, unfortunately, in catching this snake, there was a bit of a camera flub. When we thought we were recording my usual spiel, it turned out the camera decided to turn off very shortly, and hence that early, like 2-second clip that we saw just a little bit ago. But luckily, we did get a lot of beautiful photos of this gorgeous animal. Now, I've seen the more eastern subspecies, Lecontii tessellatus, the Texas longnose snake, in my home state of Colorado, and then one, unfortunately, run-over adult down in New Mexico. But the western longnose, the nominate subspecies here, is a brand new thing for me. A beautiful subspecies, too, that tends to have more solid bands, sometimes a bit less red, but that is extremely variable, as it is with both subspecies all across their range. They can be very pale, just like black and white, or they can have brilliant red in between within those white bands. So this is one of those species that is often confused with coral snakes, especially since it's the same kind of color tones as, say, the Sonoran coral snake is. These guys, of course, have entirely wrong head shape. They get much larger than the coral snakes do, and you should just never, ever listen to that stupid rhyme. Red touch yellow doesn't mean a thing. There are plenty of harmless snakes, even in the US, that follow that same pattern, and coral snakes that can be aberrant that don't. And once you're outside the US, it doesn't work whatsoever, because there are almost perfect coral snake mimic snakes out there. The corals don't match the patterns whatsoever, and so on. But with these guys, these are actually somewhat close relatives of king snakes and rat snakes, and they tend to be lizard eaters. They really like hunting down like the prairie lizards, or sometimes the collared and leopard lizards that live out in the desert here. And otherwise they're relatively they're quiet. They're nocturnal animals. They like to burrow down under the sand during the day, and then they'll come out at night to hunt. And relatively docile as well. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone getting bit by one. They're completely non-venomous even if you did get bit, and they're generally just, once you get them in hand, they're calm, they're beautiful, they'll just kind of hang out for a bit. So we definitely hung out with this guy for just a little while, getting these beautiful photos, and then we set him off back across the road into the desert. Yep. Alright, so this guy was going off this way, out towards this thick mesquite here. So we're just going to set him right down there. And off he goes. Run, run. What is he? It's a tiny little Oh! Hello! It's a Sonoran gopher snake. Okay. Alright, we got ourselves this year's hatchling Sonoran gopher snake. A little bit of peachy color on his head here. Yeah, hi. Completely harmless. These guys are probably the closest relative to the bull snakes of the plains. Come here. Come here. He's just been born this year, so he's going to be all scared and nippy for a while because he's really tiny and everything might eat him. He's got just a little bit of like peachy color on his sides. It's really pretty, probably to blend in with the sand out here. Actually, it's got a little divot in his side, so something has in fact already tried to take a shot at him, but he's gotten away and survived it. So it's cool to see. Here's Newport. Get a couple of photos and then let him off on the side of the road where he was heading. And this is my time to remind everyone that gopher snake is the species. Bull snake is one single subspecies out of that species. The rest of them are different subspecies of gopher snake. So you have the Sonoran gopher, the Great Basin gopher, the Pacific and San Diego, the Cape gopher snakes, and a couple of others. Bull snake is not a term that should be used for all the rest. It's solely meant for the subspecies that is found out on the Great Plains. Now these guys are fairly similar, although they do have, I guess, sometimes a slightly longer head. There's a slightly different pattern. They don't have quite the tricolor look that bull snakes usually do. Rather, they have more muted, like sandy, dusty colors all across their body, with similar dark bands near their tail. That seems to be a pretty common thing amongst all of the gopher snakes. They don't get quite as big either. The Sonoran gophers will usually max out at around 4 to 5 feet. Rare occasions you might get big ones that'll get 6 to 7 feet long, but those are very uncommon. They do eat similar things. They're generalists for the most part. They like warm-blooded prey or lizards, so they'll take eggs, they'll take birds, they'll take rodents of all kinds, small rabbits, jackrabbits, and things like that. And it's often claimed that these guys and other gopher snakes will eat venomous snakes like rattlesnakes. That's actually based off of a myth where somebody confused indigo snakes from the east with gopher snakes, and so they called those gophers, and so people started to believe that gopher snakes were the ones that ate snakes. These guys, they will live right alongside rattlesnakes, no problem, and there'll be no conflict at all between them. And they often have behaviors that are thought to be mimicking rattlesnakes. Perhaps the standing up in the S shape and hissing, like this rattling noise they make, that might be a bit of a mimicry, but the rattling of their tails is actually a very ancient behavior that rattlesnakes built onto later. These guys were doing it before rattlesnakes ever existed. Alright, this little guy was heading off in this direction, so we'll give him an extra little boost. Alright, here you go, dude. You go that way. You go that way. Run off. Go hide. Yeah. Go, go. Go, go. There he goes. We've got another young rattlesnake here, and I'm trying to get him to sit still long enough to where I can actually see if it's a Mojave or a... I'm pretty sure this is another young Mojave, actually. And he's poking along here. Got some nice little pinky colors as well, just like the gopher snake. So, Yeah, he's got the more uneven bands. He's got some interesting patterning as it goes down to the tail. Really nice contrast. Yeah, let's get you away from the road. And he's also being really healthy, which is pretty distinct for the Mojaves. So, hi dude. Let's get you moving away from the road. There we go. Yeah. On you go. You're free to go as long as you keep off the road. Thank you. I'm sure of it. Oh wait, is it? Yes, yes it is! Look at that! I found it! Oh my god. Look at you. Okay. Alright. The next species I wanted to see out here, we managed to find one. This is Crotalus cerastes, the Sidewinder. Cerastes means horned. They're named that because of those modified scales, so you can see just which they use to pull sand out of their face, especially because these guys will actually bury themselves in the sand during the day to hide away as well as to ambush. And then Sidewinder, the common name, is of course because, as you can probably see in this S-shaped fashion, this guy has been crossing this road by throwing loops of his body to the side and pulling himself in that direction. You can actually follow unique tracks of these guys out across the desert and sometimes find them holed up afterward by following those odd tracks. But it is a beautiful snake. It's got a little bit of the black right by the tail, but otherwise got the sandy tails with a little bit of pink. While there are many rattlesnakes down in Arizona that I still have yet to find and so need to go back down to see, this was one species that I really had a goal of trying to find while I was down there, because the Phoenix area is basically right on the northeast edge of their range, and they start to show up as you move further south and west. But anywhere where you have flat, sandy environments where these guys can travel swiftly across that kind of unstable environment, they start to become fairly common. And they don't get very big, 2, maybe 3 feet long at most. They're fairly chunky animals. You can see they've got those big heads with a kind of a thin neck and then the big chunky body. And then you'll see in a couple of these photos too a very pale sandy coloration mostly as their background that makes them blend really well to their environment. And of course, like a few other species of desert-dwelling viper around the world, they have all convergently evolved to have this unique sidewinding method of motion, which is extremely effective for moving across sand. Not quite as effective for moving over rocky environments or other substrates, but in sand it works really, really well. Also something that I found out while researching for this little bit here, the subspecies for Sonoran Desert Sidewinder, Cercobombus, apparently literally translates as buzztail. Kind of, wouldn't say oxymoron, kind of redundant when you're talking about a rattlesnake, so it's funny that they gave just this one subspecies that particular name, but there you go. Alright, so he was coming from over there, so I'm guessing he's heading this direction. So we'll just... Hey dude, come here. I know. You behave? You stay on the hook? Yes? Good boy. Oh, no, not quite. Come on. Let's get you a little bit further. See if we can get you to... Will you sidewind? Yes, yes you will. Come on. Come on. Keep going. Come on. You want to get off the road? You're not sidewinding too much though, are ya? Here he goes a little bit. Yeah, I know, you see the hook. Keep going. Look at that. Gotta get up over this ridge here, okay? I know, you're all grumpy hissy because now I'm messing with you. Get up here. Yeah, there you go. Up that ridge. Good boy. Off into the desert. There you go. Absolutely beautiful. Look at him go. I've got to see. Oh, it's trash, isn't it? It's stinking trash. Second Sidewinder, of all things, crossing the road. I was happy to get one, but we've actually got two, and this guy's actually got a little bit more of that black banding. I think we just moved him off the road too, because I can see a car coming up this side road that's right over here. And he's actually got a little bit more distinct pattern overall too, a stronger stripe near the eyes and darker down the back a little bit. Absolutely beautiful snake though. We'll make sure to get him well off the road so that nobody tries to squish him purposefully or by accident. One Sidewinder made my night, but finding a second one was incredible, especially since this guy also showed a bit of the variation in the species, being a little bit darker. It had that stronger pattern that you can see in these photos here. Really distinct kind of blotches with those white spots in between down the back, and also almost like more distinct horns above the eyes, which in the upcoming clip as we move him off into the brush, you'll get to see those really distinctly when he looks straight at the camera too. So he was fairly quiet too, he never really rattled like the other one did. So, come on dude. Just want you on the hook, up, and out over here so that you are safe. Thank you for sitting on the hook nicely. You can now go this way, okay? You behaved a lot better than the other one did. Scoot, scoot. Seriously, just look at that little face. Okay? Come on. And you go that way. You stay off the road. Good boy. It's another little rattlesnake, baby. But this time... Nope, it's another Mojave. My goodness. We've got a little baby Mojave going. Okay, I don't think I'll have to do much to get him off the road because he's already moved away. But that's impressive. We've got 4 Mojaves tonight, 2 Sidewinders. Nice to find an adult Mojave, but we'll just keep this guy going in the direction he's going. probably going to be moving off the road already, but where is he at? Where'd he go? Did we lose him? My God. Okay. Yeah, I know. 'Cause he was literally right over here. We didn't go that far. Really? How the heck did... There he is! There he is. He's coming back towards the road, too. It's an adult western downback again. Look at that. Oh, he's beautiful. Okay. Yep, go back away from the road, dude. Away from the road. That is a big rattlesnake. Let me get on this side so he goes off the road. There he goes. That is a gorgeous rattler. Big down back here. Check the second to last video that I posted up though for a rattlesnake even bigger, as the second diamondback I've ever encountered in the wild was probably the biggest I might ever see. But this was still a decently sized snake, somewhere around possibly 4.5 feet long. Really beautiful, kind of pale gray colors. Look at this snake. That is a gorgeous diamondback. Oh, look at you. Trying to get him underneath. Hi! That was a good look, thank you. This was definitely a much more active snake than the big adult that I had found the night before, and so when we sat down to kind of sit and watch him for a little bit, after he saw and reacted to me, he decided, maybe not a good idea to keep on moving at the moment, so he chose that little branch that he was under to start curling up under into a bit of a defensive position. Gave us a really good look at his colors, his pattern, as well as the fact that even when they go defensive, they're not always rattling either. He stayed pretty silent this whole time. And there he goes. Oh, yes, it's an adult Mojave. Look at you, you are beautiful. I see him. This guy's going off the road on his own, but he is gorgeous. You can see. Yep. Alright, so we have here an adult Mojave rattlesnake, and he's actually got here a little bit of the color that gives them the nickname Mojave Green. He's got that greenish tint to him. You can see those really narrow little bands of black on the tail. This is a good, healthy snake too, so glad to see that he's moving his way off the road on his own already. And you'll notice, not rattling at all, even though he has enough to make a little noise with. He's definitely arching up though, saying, "Don't touch me." But we'll let him go on his way. Adult Mojave rattlesnake. Moving off into the brush here. Not rattling at all, just kind of wants to get away. So we want to make sure that he goes We've got another juvenile out here who's going the wrong direction. And this one is a young diamondback. Look at that. Okay. Alright, we have another juvenile diamondback rattlesnake out here. It's got some lovely pattern as well. Beautiful little coon tail with that abrupt change in colors. He's actually got a pretty strong diamond pattern out there too, and now he sees the hook moving. He's not sure what to make of it, but we want him to get off the road, so we'll scoot him that way. Make sure he doesn't come out and get squished. Definitely a great example of a baby diamondback on this second half of the night, with those really distinct, kind of evenly matched, evenly sized white and black bands on the tail, and that stripe of white that goes from the back of the eye right down to the back corner of the mouth, unlike the Mojave where that would extend back to the back of the jaw. Okay, sir, we're going to need you to go this way. Okay? No, go this way. Good boy. Come on, keep going. Keep going. Don't want nobody to run over you. Off the road. Off the road. Into the bushes. There he goes. Alright, folks. Just like the night before, we are going to finish off with the Sonoran toad, who we have nicknamed Law, who lives by the door. We do not know where Order is, but there might be several out here. This guy is actually, this could be a different one because this is an absolutely huge toad. Look at that size compared to my hand. This is a massive Sonoran toad. But we're finishing out the night with him after 14 snakes and a banded gecko and several solifugids and scorpions and so much more today. So it was a busy day. There will certainly be more photos and extra video clips that will show up on Instagram, TikTok, other social media sites at Carlton Carnivores. And if you'd like to see more educational pieces, want to help support trips like this to document different species, consider joining as a patron at patreon.com/hcarlton. Members there also get some exclusive benefits back. Or you can do, if you don't want to do a monthly subscription, you can join, or you can give donations at, guess he's done with us today, but you can give donations at coffee.com/Carlton Carnivores. Other information and links for like the website, merchandise, and more will be in the description below the video. But until next time, I'm Hawken Carlton. There's the eye shine from Law, and this is Carlton Carnivores.